Ladies and gentlemen, how you all doing? This is Con Ulrich.
This is Rangru, hello, hello, hello.
And folks, today on show, we give you a Div 2 matchup. Rang, who do we have?
On left hand side, in the blue, we have XX playing the 5th Romanian Cavalry with Maverick Income. And on the right hand side, in the red, we have Hypokrass playing the 5th German Mounted Infantry, also with a Maverick Income.
So the Battle of the Fives. I mean, this is not Umbrella Academy. This is not Cinco de Mayo. Like, we have fives on both sides. What should we be expecting out of this? I mean, because both are fairly light divisions, right?
Yeah, they're both pretty similar divisions. Not a whole lot of armor on either side, but a lot of infantry, decent amount of artillery, and air support, and it's a good map for these light infantry style divisions. Because you don't really have to use too many tanks when there's trees galore.
That's certainly true, but does mean that some of these things like the IAR coming in right about now actually has a fairly good chance of attacking and killing a lot of these armored fighting vehicles, even with the HE bombs that it does have.
Yeah, I actually forgot how ridiculous of a loadout that is for a recon plane. Like, that has a
Yeah.
lot of bombing potential, right? Yeah.
Oh yeah, Brownings, turrets, more turrets, yeah, and of course, many bomblets. So there we go. I mean, much earlier on, we're going to see a lot of light vehicles. In fact, we're going to have a Lux right now. Unfortunately, probably being rather unlooksy, as that Italian Stoke is probably going to engage him pretty quickly. No, he's engaging the Rosoria, and
That
that's
doesn't have
very
line of
very
sight.
lucky.
I
That's
really
true.
love that little smoke play he did with the Pioneers, I think, to protect the Lukes, but the Lukes was not, like you said, Lukesy, and the AB-41 was more than enough to knock it out.
Exactly. But we're going to have the whole kind of earlier stuff here. We're going to just be seeing a lot of just jockeying for position. But I'm sorry, you're going to say, sir, please.
Oh, nothing, that was it.
Okay. Well, I mean, we do have ourselves some Gebirgsjägers and some Strife. We'll give Gebirgs Strife troops over here. Not a quick call out to them because I feel like we don't see the Strife very often. Just five MP44s, the double MGs. Like these guys are tough.
Yeah, they're pretty similar to 78 Sturm, just crazy STG squad, so a little bit smaller, but still a pretty hefty amount of firepower.
Very true. And you can see right now the IAR is being so cheap. Yes, it is 55 points, but 55 points for a fairly decent light bomber earlier on. Like, you almost can't go wrong.
With the recon optics, meaning that you can
Yes.
see what you're going to blow up, and in the early stages of the map like this, especially when, well, I say not a lot of anti-air, but aircraft will be the anti-air in this case, and especially against this map and division, it's a fantastic unit to be bringing out.
Unfortunately, the only downside to these is you only really get two. So this isn't like some of the Russian divisions where you get, the waves upon waves of just crazy amounts of recon planes. And I thought for half a second that C1 to 205 was going to somehow catch up to him, but no, he just kind of ported out of there. That was actually very fortunate.
Yeah, it's quite unfortunate, for the 205. That could have been a pretty easy kill, but just, of course, the plane pathfinding in really all the Eugene games into airland battle has always felt more like a slot machine and really any tactical finesse.
Slot machine, I would have gone with Plinko, but that's fair enough.
Yeah, it's honestly more accurate.
But Double X over here is not quite controlling the middle quite as well as he might. You have the 81 millimeter stovepipe that is there to kind of maybe push back this miniature push that could be developing in that central forest. Those five squads right there.
Yeah.
But outside of that, actually, I think this is an overreaction. We have three Bredas being brought on in right about now. I don't know if I agree with that.
You know what? Yeah, what is he gonna try to do with them up north? Where is he actually deploying them first? Okay, he's spreading them out all over. I think he's just trying to set up more of a defensive position up north after initial little aggressive action has failed. We're also seeing down south a bit, Hypokrass is pushing down from the southern hill and actually getting into a very good little flanking position here through his forest.
Yeah, and that's what I kind of think trying to point out before. So we have a lot of Fusiliers here. We have Sturm Pioneers, and the mortar. Yeah, the mortar's going to get into action, but he's aiming the wrong direction. Okay, I take that back. I was excited for a second. I'm a little bit less so now.
Yeah, but the Roy, I can't bloody say it properly. The Romanian infantry squad of the two ZB-30s actually doing a pretty good job of, well, holding the line at least, as the Stern Pioneers having a little bit of an issue of getting too close for them to Sturm with their pioneer weapons, that being a flamethrower.
True. Now, very, very luckily enough, this mortar, despite firing, in my mind, in the wrong kind of sector, well, the strife troops are going to be moving right into the shelling. So that very, very lucky on that one to have such a reaction over here. With Calarasis. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, it's a great position for that sniper squad. Really, XX is a very good just kill, like, beat zone. Rail Strife fire. They don't, the Strife at least, can't really, even though they do have a lot of MG42s, just having a bit of a hard time here holding, especially with just the smaller squad sizes do screw you over a bit.
True. True. Both sides are catching the collective breath. We are going to see just a little bit more of light vehicles being brought to the front, some more kind of spotter troops. I feel like both of them don't really have a great idea of where their opponent is. They have vague lines, but I'm not really sure outside of like some of these sniping plays like to the north that either one really wants to get super aggressive right now.
Yeah, both sides have, it's been a pretty standard trove this entire time, and they're just kind of playing it slow and steady. I think once we reach B phase, when income really just shoots up a ludicrous amount, maybe someone will start feeling a little bit more ballsy. I think Hypokrass is just really trying to make his southern push happen. He's very close to capturing 2 flags here, which would be quite good for him.
Very true. Now, Romanians are not okay. The Romanians are putting in a squad or two, just to have nothing else. At least plug the gaps minorly. The mortar continues to just kind of shell the north. Very, very interesting there. Now, one thing actually I do like myself is I like seeing a little bit more of an anti-aircraft net over here from the Romanians because I feel like right now all the investment they put into place, those recon planes are still not the most durable of things. So having that ground support is really, really beneficial.
Yeah, and especially with both divisions being somewhat heavy in the aircraft department, and this is a good map for aircraft, as instantaneous bombing runs can really be clutch, especially against more infantry-focused divisions. And we're definitely seeing both players really just invest heavily. We got the BF-110 out in the field, which is not a plane you see all too often.
True. Now, I think the other thing that's kind of amusing to me too is the light vehicles. There's so many recon light vehicles here that it doesn't matter that both infantry squads are extremely well equipped with anti-tank weaponry. Basically, because if we're looking at this, they really can't get close enough to use it. Just the recon optics are just too good.
Yeah. Oh, they're both using the exact same recon cars down south. I forgot both sides got those Italian clown cars, which I don't blame. They have really good little recon cars.
Oh, the AP
Yeah.
41s? Yes.
I believe that thing could also reverse just as fast as it could go forward, like it had the driver's seat in the back. There's a joke in there somewhere, but it's
Oh,
honestly a
there's
pretty
a
good idea for a recon car.
very obvious joke on that one, but at the same time, that's got to be nice to our Italian brothers and sisters out there.
Yeah, a bit hard enough.
Exactly. And like right now, one of the Veltro is proving that it doesn't matter how brave you are, Romans can still die just as easily as anybody else. Going down right now, and the BF-110, apparently eager for blood and chasing this IAR.
Yeah, I
Curious
mean,
decision.
he's usually more of a night fighter at BF Run 10, but he's going to try to get his daylight kill. But that anti-air coming in clutch, getting some very good hits. He's not going to be able to make it. Good idea
Well,
to back off.
that's kind of my question. Was it that he's a night fighter or he's trying to say goodnight? Because I feel like that either way it might be true.
Oh,
But of course, the IAR apparently have crazy weird intercept forces for this. Like you said, flight plans not Eugene's strong point necessarily.
no. Down south, though, this push here from Hypokrass is going okay. He's got a good little foothold of the Stern Pioneers. Knows it's going to be hard to dig out. We're seeing good counter battery fire on the anti-air, which is very good play. But that one AB-41 has just a very good lockdown over the reinforcements, and he's going to be able to surround the Stern Pios.
That's true, but at the cost of losing the anti-air, I'm not sure that's really quite worth it because yeah, the anti-air is been very, very beneficial for him.
He just needs to move.
Exactly.
Move he shall, finally, because those 105s are causing absolute havoc.
That's true, but I think that's just because those guys finally realized they had to use their Chevrolet legs. Um, which I think they're waiting for Ford to kind of come rescue them, and that's not going to happen.
Oh.
Curiously, the scout planes are back, and there still isn't any ground. Oh, there's a Breda coming in. Okay, there we go.
He's using it for anti-partisan activity to spot the stern pioneers, and maybe he'll fly back round to drop the bombs, or...
Hmm.
No, he's just gonna drop on the LG-42, which is also a pretty respectable target.
Yeah, I was gonna say between that and actually even to pick up the Strife Troop, it doesn't sound like it's a whole lot, but especially since that guy didn't have a lot of ammo. But you're going to see right here a couple scout vehicles moving in to kind of develop the understanding in that theater because right now, not a lot of awareness.
Yeah, honestly, his scout planes have proven to be really clutch, and he's been able to use them pretty much willy-nilly. He's managing to spot one of the 105 mils, so he can start doing some counter-battery fire, which is what he's doing by investing in 122 mil. This could be a pretty good turnaround down south here for XX.
Very, very true. I am mildly amused, not just by the fact that the Missouri are going to be running back into the Stone Pioneers, are probably surrendering here, but also the Stug M42 is actually deadly enough to really get some work done.
Yeah, especially in this sort of matchup where there's currently not any proper Stugs on this field. Your Italian Stug can, be the Stug that we have at home.
Exactly. It's not the Stug that we wanted, but it's the Stug that we were given by the world. So, but you can see it right now. Yeah, geez, one picking off one of those light recon vehicles over here. In the meantime, actually, I want to see that 122 when it gets involved. He has a okay, interesting unload pattern here. I think he realized that Shrimp Pioneers are really kind of controlling way more than they should.
Yeah, it's pretty close quarters to the front line. Do they get radios? Yeah, they do have radios, so you don't need to really keep them that close. That does also open up to a little bit more battery fire, counter battery fire.
Certainly does seem to be the case. Well, right now the mortar and the 75 mil is just getting shellacked. And I think we're going to see, yep, the bulge is going to get reduced here. We have a couple of Pioneeries and Kalaris being brought on between assaults and otherwise. So, yeah, that pocket's getting reduced.
Stern Pioneers are going to have to do quite a bit of heavy lifting here as this assault of Romanians are going to come barging down their door. And also, we're already seeing the counter battery fire, and he definitely not the best position putting the Ron 22 mil on the road. He's actually quite lucky. None of these infantry units actually were forced to disembark. But really just on-point artillery play here from Hypokrass. He's invested quite heavily already, but he's been making them work.
Yeah, but I mean, they get a hefty amount of shells. I mean, you can see right here, it's 50 rounds basically per cannon. So you don't really have to rush a whole lot of support trucks to him in the first place, which actually, upon reflection, is good since he has no support trucks.
Oh my
So,
god, you're right. Yes. Does he? I'm hoping that some of his what's it called later artillery transports have supply trucks attached to them, but still, that is not a lot of supplies.
Rang, every now and again when you're shocked, that you're like, Khan, you're right. And I realize it happens rarely. I realize. But,
You can
uh,
note it in
um,
the diary.
I, dear
Oh,
diary,
journal. Sorry.
today I scored one. Hey, no, what's a journal but a diary by another name? I'm fine calling it a diary, man. Pioneer, in the meantime, trying to aggress, and then I thought they were going to reduce that pocket. They're not concerned about that. They're saying, screw this, we're getting aggressive here, guys.
Yeah, our stern pioneers are really holding the front cry right. Oh, run. No
Yeah, no, he's
Fritz
not making it.
X, unfortunately, but
No, not over a double 20 mil.
shame. I think he was trying to do some counter battery fire, looking at the flight pattern. Definitely a little
Mm-hmm.
bit of a ballsy move, especially if a heavy bomber like that. That's more of a bomb the front line and then push up and pick up what remains.
True. Very, very true.
Oh, it goes
Yeah, people
down.
always even paying attention to it. He's down to 111.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
that's a
Thanks.
big loss for nothing.
Yeah, it's 110 points. Lost for no gain.
It'd be
Hmm.
111 points. Eugene, please.
Yeah, by that point, you have something else has to be 9 points, and or just yeah. Or hear me out. You have to get an availability of 10 to make it even to work back out.
Or you buy 5 of them and you're good.
Fine, you can do 5 as well. I was
I'm
thinking
trying
like
to be
Battle of Britain
economic.
numbers. That's true. I guess I was trying to think of like, Battle of Britain numbers. Fascinating. And here's a reduction of the pocket. There we go. The two rink-eating planes moving on in. Even the 20 mils can't repel that. And honestly, even more dispersion, that's exactly what that's fine.
More importantly, just getting the fallback on the Stern Pioneers. Just getting them out of that bloody forest will definitely relieve a bit of pressure. That's just one problem when fighting on Shell, is that trying to clear up enemy attacks, because you never know. There could always be a sneaky recon unit somewhere in the forest which is going to snipe your backline. It's so easy to sneak through on this map.
It very much is. You're absolutely correct. There's a piece of me that was always wondering if it would make a comment about like there's always a bigger fish, and I was like, Master Qui-Gon, what are we going to do?
There's always a
Um,
PTRS in your backline somewhere, even if you're not fighting against the Russians.
oh, that's exactly what I was going to say. Only if they're Russian. BF-110 though coming on in and taking out
Damn.
that recon vehicle. It was a 20 mil cannon in the front. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's quite a lot of them as well. Oh, 2 Fuddy Mills as well, so that is... I mean, it's meant to shoot down a bomber. I think it can definitely kill an armored car. They really
that's
go
true.
down now. It's a lot
Well,
of
one
air.
of the 105s is down, so that's actually not an inconsiderable loss either. In fact, wait, are two of them down? Two of them are down.
Oh, wow. The counter battery is starting to really... Why, such a X-Axis counter battery is starting to get pretty nuts. You know, when the enemy brings 105s, you gotta bring 122s. But we're
That's
also
true.
seeing Hypokrass. This is becoming an arms raw now. He's buying some SK-18s, which I believe, yeah, those are the longer barreled pieces, which are better for the counter battery work. So I think we're gonna have an arty party Khan.
That might be the case, but there's certainly a lot of arms carrying weapons down south. You can see right now between Fusiliers, a Fusilier push, which is these guys. Yeah, this is one of the few sets of recon troops that I'd be like, okay, yeah, you guys take the lead.
Yeah.
It's devastating the pioneery. And behind them, a lot of strike troops being moved on in, a lot of pioneers being moved on in, and of course, some Fuhrer there to kind of watch the rear, because that's what officers are good for. But
Watching
it
your
is true.
ass get blown up.
Oh, absolutely. It's the privilege of rank is guarding the supplies. So,
Yes. But oh yeah, it's so a trove. Really not. It's been more of like a balanced income style match, considering the actual map development. Everything's, especially since the 5 minute mark, has all just been focused down south here. So it's been a very grindy back and forth. But it seems like Hypokrass will be taking the lead once again. As it's looking on the front line down south, it is much more red.
it's red. That's true. It's very, very true. Now, sadly, what we just saw is we saw one of the Lukes go down over here to the AB-41. And at the worst time, too, because there's this giant reinforcement column being moved on in. And it doesn't seem to matter that some of these troops were picked off.
Mm-hmm. Also, a big reinforcement column here from XX to shore up the southern defences. I feel like the main reason he hasn't been able to get as good of a defensive front line currently is just a heavy investment in his 122mm. And it is going to open up a window of opportunity here for Hypokrass to push through. But it's a shell, and reconnaissance is hard on this map. Will Hypokrass pick this up?
Certainly an excellent question on that one. We are watching as a couple 45 mil anti-tank guns do get taken out, which is unsurprising. I mean, those guys are good, but they're not great. It's they're good enough to do the job that you're paying them for, really.
Another
But
IAR strike.
exactly, I was going to call out right there, and I mean, we're going to get the suppression and a kill. Wow.
Really needs to try and knock out those recon planes. It's not even just for the bombing, it's just the eyes on they're getting, especially on these artillery guns, is proven to be quite deadly.
I think the confusing thing for me is the fact that now we're getting Elite Grenadiers being brought on in. So we have Gebirgsjäger troops, or German troops fighting German troops, but are under the Romanian flag.
Yeah.
Very, very confusing.
This is why we don't do mirror matches often. Even though this isn't technically a mirror match, but it kind of is.
It's kind of like a dark mirror match, a black mirror, if you will. But now the recon push is going the other direction here in the south, and that reinforcement column is just deadly enough. Just deadly enough to be really deadly. Which sounds
Yeah.
ridiculous, but it works.
Those are some pretty deadly words. But no, just the 222 fire support, especially with no anti-tank down south, is more than enough to just push on through. The Führer getting a bit furious, yeah. But that's going to be a pretty good counter-attack here. 4XX. Will he exploit yo? Will he try to push further down south, or is he just going to hold the crossroads? That is the question.
Yeah, I think the unfortunate thing is that AP Horsch at that point was like, you know what, man, I'm going to shoot the machine gun. Let's make it fair. And pays for that same kind of brave temerity. Also worthwhile, I think we're going to get a push over here in the northern side. We have a 170 marking a target just to the west of them. There's a lot of untapped potential here, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see Hypokrass get really frisky
Yeah,
in the near future.
he's already doing a pretty good job down south. I don't feel like he's going to make much more progress. Oh yeah, Stug 3 on the hill is sniping. I love ya. That is such a good bloody position. But like I was saying, I don't feel like he's going to get much more progress down south, as this massive reinforcement of Romanian infantry is going to be enough to hold up no man's land pretty much. So trying to open up the front on the northern end, especially with a devastating barrage like that, can actually shift the scales quite a bit.
Oh my gosh, watch this AB Horsch take out the Stog from the side. That would be amazing and sad at the same time. He's going on a bit of a walkabout.
Oh yeah. I think he's just trying to get to the enemy rear line to become from 222 to 223, but no one has told him about the downgrade that causes. Oh, no, I
That's
guess
true.
233 is... No, 223 is the machine gun one. Yes, I remember now.
Which essentially means it's largely worthless.
Yeah.
The IAR, I think, actually will go down with all these sources of ground fire it's taking right now. It's 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 3 separate sources here. Engine's overheating for sure, so he's feeling a little bit hot under the collar. Does he limp away, though? He limps away. Jeez.
The heavy HE run gets a little bit scared, you know, from a few 20 mils. But the IAR, I don't know, it just built different in Romania, apparently.
You know, I think it's because it's such a light aircraft, the holes when they punch through don't really actually affect the overall structure.
I think
I don't know.
also because it has, like, double the rings, it's like double HP.
I think they're telling me it's because they have stabilizers.
Oh,
And
that
that's to
must be
remind
it.
you, technically all planes have stabilizers.
Technically you're correct, which is the best kind of correct.
True, true. And technically, as we continue being technical, that northern push, that 170, yeah, that is firmly now within Hippocrates' control. That's never coming back there, Doc.
Yeah, and considering it down south has actually gone pretty well here for XX, actually still keeping it an even 12-12. Just a geographical gains up north by holding that hill is huge. Because it's pretty hard to lose that hill once you fully capture it, especially if Hypokrass can get some anti-tank guns on that hill, some of those Romanian 75 mils for fire support. That opens up a whole heap of the northern front.
Now, when you say Hippocrates bringing in those troops, you mean the German troops, right?
I mean, for... Yeah, yeah, Hypokrass is the Germans, that's why I was... Because he has the hill up north.
Yes, yes, very much so. But
This is why we don't do mirror matches, guys.
Exactly. Right now, it's like in the red Axis troops and the blue Axis troops. So you know.
Because what Germans are we talking about? The Begli Grenadiers? Are we talking about the Grebstreifers? Are we talking about the Italian cars?
Well, and down to the south, for example, we have the Greek Grenadiers being surrendered by Gebirgsjäger Pioneers, which kind of like defecting back to your own side. So yeah, it's a very, very curious thing overall. But when you have the Fifth Light fighting the Fifth Mountain, it's kind of hard to not cast that.
Yeah, and you got the fifth mount. The German guys are also using a lot of Italian equipment, but then the Romanians using like a lot of German equipment. So we're just having like a whole Axis party here, really.
That's true. That's true. The only one they're not bringing in is Franco, because he was kind of just, he didn't feel like actually coming to the party.
It's
He
a
was
little
that
bit
dude that was
late.
like, you know what, man, I'm gonna RSVP that I'll join and then never show up.
He went to
But
the Allied party, which was much cooler. They brought the
yes,
beer kegs.
yes, and he had a little bit of a siesta and woke up 6 years later and was like, oh, the war's over. Okay, great, wonderful. So it worked out for him. Northern side, we are seeing a minor reduction. It's nothing crazy because right now it's still very much a hilltop position, which is not going to be fun to attack, especially with the AP-41 below and the Shug above.
Yeah, it's just very well defended here from Hypokrass. And he is doing... Where are his pioneers going? Oh, he's moving them down south. I feel like Hypokrass is going to try to take out town just northwest of the hill, where the horse and the Hotchkiss is.
Oh yeah, they are very very optimistic about their chances of getting forward for their forwards.
Got the Stug coming in, the discount Stug.
Well, the Hotchkiss is down, so that was a big issue right there. And the horse, for some reason, apparently doesn't think it's important enough to actually engage the infantry here.
No line of sight, unfortunately. And he's going to pay the iron price, it seems. Maybe.
Yep. Oh yeah.
That's a very effective push. Just having a bit of fire support on that hill is going to be more than enough. We're seeing a Russian-Romanian 45 mil being brought in to shoot the Italian tank being manned by Germans.
Yeah. Yeah, and the 45 mil is going to have more than enough to penetrate. Yep, there we go. It doesn't matter if it's a door knocker, if you're only kind of going through a Dutch door.
Yeah. We're seeing the sniper get the revenge, yeah. Or two snipers, actually. But that horse now being a big fish in this rather small pond can actually start making some good kills. Unless he gets too close.
I forgot. The Pioneers actually have a jerry can bomb.
Pretty ghetto.
Oh, absolutely. It just is one of those things again. That's kind of like, first of all, you're taking like the ethnic. I'm not sure what to call it, but I somehow find myself doubting that Germans were like, yeah, we're Jerry's. No, it's like
or
Gerhardt's maybe, but like Jerry, eh.
or using the fuel and jerry cans as bombs. It's like, guys, you kind of need that for the tanks. You don't have a lot of it left.
Find me the nearest Kubelwagen. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Speaking on the artillery, Roy, I've been noticing that a lot of the 122 mils have been blown up to smithereens, which is definitely given Hypokrass the edge in regards to the heavy artillery.
And also, just as a nice little touchback, you were wondering about there being munitions trucks. I mean, there's a Maltia that has 7,700 munitions, so there is potential there.
Yeah, but we've seen the 1105, which is still alive, is only has 3 shells left, so he's really having to ration his ammo.
It's rather true. I'm also kind of surprised that the IAR 80s are still active here. This is not exactly what I would consider to be an extremely aggressive weapons platform, but hey, I guess when you're fighting against really just a couple BF-109s that are way too expensive to be brought in, I guess that's what happens.
And a rather underwhelming strafing run from their performance, yeah, just gonna take a few flak fire and then bugger off, it seems. But it's not looking that great for XX. I mean, Hypokrass's northern post has definitely caught him off guard. And down south, yeah, XX is slowly getting pushed back here.
Yeah, and we're actually seeing a lot of little sneaky things here and there, like the Strife troops that are actually through the front lines. And if they wanted to, they probably could pick up one of the few Stugs that is still on the map.
Are you
Of
saying
course,
they could cause a bit of strife?
oh yeah, lots of strife. Lots of strife. That poor Stug over there, he's trying to live the Stug life, and I don't think he's going to be able to enjoy it for too much longer.
Oh. We've got an all off-map artillery here from XX. That is a
Mm-hmm.
rather sexy position, yeah. What caliber is that? That is...
172s.
Okay, so it might kill the stag.
172s, 52s, 52s. Excuse me. It starts with a 1 and ends in a 2. But it still is a 1311 over here in the meantime. I think it's really just because, yep, okay, so the Strife is going to be able to pick up the Stug. And the artillery strike is going to start landing on the other Stug. So we could be Stugless very, very soon. That's one. Yeah, artillery shells are coming on in. Unfortunately, there's nothing really here immediately able to follow this up.
No, he has a little bit of infantry, but this is definitely more of a defensive fire than just trying to... Yeah, yeah, if he was to follow up, he'd get so many captures, but it was kind of under... I mean, it pinned everything down, but they're just gonna unpin themselves after a little bit.
Exactly. Exactly. And I mean, right now, too, we are seeing that the troops down to the southern side are completely
Oh,
cut off. It got very red very quickly.
that is, yeah, 15-9 now for Hypokrass, even though it's not a strong position down south. At the same time, it's not a whole lot of reinforcements coming in either.
It's more of strong enough, you know? And we can see in the meantime, the lack of any kind of counterattacking forces, you can see that those Germans that were hit by that off map, it's kind of chilling now. Not really caring too much.
Living their best
Mm,
life, as they can.
exactly. Exactly. And you gotta respect that. It's one of those things, man. Like, yep, just living their lives.
Indeed. I do like a little pioneer soap position all the way up north. He's not going to be able to do too much, but you can give any Germans a rude awakening if they try to take position in that forest.
The Kalari that's engaging the strife right now?
Uh, no, all the way up north, the pioneer, so... Oh, no, all the way up north on the hill. He's like behind enemy lines.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
gotcha,
you see
gotcha. A
that little
little bit further
guy?
south than I was thinking. Yep.
Yeah.
But at this
Well,
point, it's 15-9. It doesn't really matter, does it?
no, it doesn't. I mean, we've seen the IARs coming and once again, I'm utterly surprised they're still alive. And they've definitely racked up quite a bit of a kill tally, but it has not been enough, unfortunately. Even just the informational warfare. I mean, he's lost the artillery game. XX at his point. And Hypokrass is definitely making him pay.
Yeah, I'm almost surprised we haven't seen heavier bombers over here from Hippocrass. But he hasn't really needed it either, though. So I guess it's a little hard for me to be too critical about that.
I think he's just been using his artillery as heavy
True,
bombers. In a
true.
way, they're kind of like bombs. They fall from the
Yeah,
sky at a high
y-
angle.
yeah, but I feel like it's one of those things that you need more of like a Dear John letter as opposed to a to whom it may concern. I don't know. I just feel that personal touch is necessary when you're blowing him into smithereens. Call me old-fashioned. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a bit of a tap here pretty quickly. I mean, 16-8, and I feel like Romanians are kind of running out of troops to effectively assault these positions, which is bizarre because they have half again as many infantry as the Germans do. Of course, the Germans trading it out for a lot more veterancy and and really some of those armored fighting vehicles as well.
Yeah, and there's also lots of SCGs goes quite a long way when it comes to having a bit of a firefight.
And it's going to go even further when your opponent goes and donates some squads to G43s and MG42s. Like it's a very very generous thing,
Yeah, and we
to
are
say the least.
seeing a decent attack here down south on that hill, using the aircraft and the Panzer II Luke's for a bit of fire support. But even then, it's just not going to be enough. It's just a lot of, well, German infantry he still has to break through.
Very very true. Do you think maybe we take this to a times two, like 3510?
Sounds good?
Oh, okay. So, folks, as we kind of just continue to see this last little bit come out here, yeah, we are seeing some small successes here and there, but it just it's just not going to come in time. It just they're buying time with their little flesh bag bodies.
Mm-hmm.
one thing that's been kind of surprising to me is that there hasn't been more action here to the northern side, and we're seeing a couple of Rosarii being brought on in now. There we go. But not quite seeing an efficient push, really, overall.
Yeah, we saw the starts of something up north here from XX as he did try to make something happen, but he didn't really follow through after it initially failed. And it just became, that meat grinder down south, which Hypokrass broke by pushing far up north. But looking at the KD difference, it's 800, which is honestly not that bad. It felt like it was worse.
Sure,
I think also a lot of the Romanian stuff is pretty cheap.
sure. That's very, very true. We're going to see right about now if we're going into the actual kills. In the meantime, Hippocrass, we have a couple of Fusiliers, and again, what I was talking about before. These Fusiliers are really strong.
Mm-hmm.
A couple Pioneer squads punching above their weight, so being very, very successful there. IARs, on the other hand, 4 kills for 1. So far, it's the killiest thing other than a recon vehicle. 3 kills for the other, and 4 kills over here for the 122. Yeah. Outside of that, it's kind of telling when your recon planes are more deadly than most of your troops, you know?
Yeah, they sort of used those IARs for the blitz, honestly. Would have
Absolutely.
been more effective considering those runs just get shot down immediately.
Absolutely. But folks, I believe that's going to do it about for us today. Unless you have any other thoughts, sir?
Oh,
Well, folks, in that case, then, yep, that will in fact do it for us today. Until Thursday, I'm Conor Work.
I'm Rangru, take it easy.